Good morning. Today is the 9th of October 2023 and I'm going to go over my trade plan for today and look at some levels on the ES, the SPY, the Qs, Nasdaq, and we'll look at CL oil futures as well. There's a big movement today on the futures, oil futures, so I want to take a look at that. On my screen is the economic calendar for today. We've got 3 events today, that's it really. 2 out of 3 on the importance scale. So just bear in mind at 9:15 we've got some Fed speakers, and at 1:30 today Fed speaker. There's one speaker on right now, so we may see a bit of movement in the market. Okay, so moving into the MES, on my screen is the 1 hour. So this is the MES or the ES futures, S&P index futures. And we're currently looking at hourly time frame. So we've got a couple of good levels for today. Let's just first get my pen open. So the first level I'm watching for is potential rejection, and this area is around this 43, 44, 43, 50 area. And we've got this little head and shoulders pattern here. We've got the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. And then Friday we came in, we tested these levels, and we came right up into this supply zone as well at 43.60. And supply zone was based on that candle through to the green candle. In another video I'll explain how I do the supply zones. But they seem to be pretty accurate. As you see, it came in, touched it on Friday and rejected. So today I've got another supply zone I'm watching. My supply zone is based on a big move down or up, and then I'm looking at the previous candle. So I take it from that candle through to the body of the previous green candle, if there is a green candle usually. So this is a supply zone I'm watching, 43.30. And you can see in the pre-market we've come into it and rejected it twice already. So it could be a significant area, but something to watch for. But my main real rejection area is 43.45. That's the area I'm watching. Basically the top of this gap fill. Don't get many gaps in ES, and I think the war in Israel has impacted that, and which we'll see in oil in a second. And we saw this big gap down. So big gap to fill today. So 43.40 to 43.45 is the area to watch for rejection. And as for bounce, if you remember over the last few weeks we've been watching this area 4300, 4301, where it was the floor or an area of support. Come down, didn't quite get there, came back down again, and then it retested and flipped it. So now the floor has become the ceiling, and we've got areas of support. So this is an area I'm watching as well for potential bounce. The pre-market is coming to there as well. So I'm waiting for it to get down to 43. So 4300 is a big round number as well. And we've got this 50 moving average coming into that area as well. And we've got this demand zone which goes back to, let's just move it slightly. We've got this lovely big move from, whatever day that was last Wednesday. So there's a demand zone which I've taken from that, the pivot of the big move up through to the previous colour candle. So we've got this area of, which was, and you can see it's this area works because we bounced off of that area there, we bounced off it there as well a couple of times, and then before we finally broke down. And then Friday and Thursday we couldn't quite break through that area. Was that Wednesday and Thursday I meant. And then finally Friday we did break through this area, and then we came back down today and we're retesting it. So I'm watching 4300, 4301, 50 for a potential bounce, and I'm also watching 43.45 for a potential rejection. That's the main areas. If we see a bigger sell-off today, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to sit out of the market for the first quarter of an hour. I'm just going to watch and see if it can pick up a direction. So this is the direction we're looking for. If after 15 minutes I might look for a opening range breakout and a retest, or an opening range breakdown and retest. But I want to see some big movements really to break out of these areas. Like I said, this area is a bounce area, so it's got to break through this bounce area and close below. I probably want it to close below the 50 moving average. If we do see a bigger sell-off, then we've got, zoom out a bit, we've got this area was at 4,400. Let's just look at this on the daily so see where we are. Okay, we've got a couple of daily areas here. Okay, so this 4,400 is the neckline area, so that's where we're waiting for a potential rejection as well. Oh, it could be a target if we go long. And then this is a daily area, which is this area here, 42.77, which we're pretty close to at the moment, and potentially we could see a bounce around that area. And we've tried a few times on the day. I should really adjust this level, but we came through a couple times on the daily, come down, tested this area, this high volume area, concentrated volume. You can see the fulcrum or the point of control is right at that point. We rejected it once, rejected it twice, rejected it 3 times, and then we broke out through there, and that's through that pivot. And today we've got an inside day, so it could, we generally do get a inside, when we get a big moving day, the next day is a narrow range bar or an inside day, or even just a narrow range bar, breaking up above or below the big move. So today we may not see much movement, but we want to keep an eye on it. We closed above this 200 moving average on Friday, and we pulled back down to it, so maybe this 200 on the daily is significant, which we'll find out by the end of today which way we want to go. So that's it really. I'm only really watching those 2 main levels on the hourly, and if we see significant buy-in and a big rally, 4,400 is a good target as well, which is hopefully the area we've been talking about, a break and retest of the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern. So that's potentially an area we can watch if we see any further movement. We've got constant higher volume as well coming into the daily as we're coming to the end of this run. So we could see a bit of, and we were talking about that last week, higher concentrated volume and increase in volume as well. And we saw this push up, and that's the reason I took that long swing trade on the Qs. And glad I got out of it again on Friday. So I got out of my Qs trade at the highs, and today obviously pulled back, so it's a good out. Okay, so looking at SPY, similar levels to ES. We've got 430 to 431 area as a potential rejection into this area of supply as well. And then if we come back down, we've got the tops of these candles, so it's a supply, a demand zone, I'm in a area of support. So we're looking at 425.40 and potentially between 425.40 and 424, and that happens to be the top end of this demand zone as well. And you can see we've been going sideways through this demand zone, and potentially this area or this area is a potential bounce. Okay, so looking at Qs, I've not looked today to see where we are. Again, we're going to use this area up here for potential rejection. And the good thing about going back to ES and SPY again, using this area for a rejection, let's go back to the hourly, is we've got our defined stop loss as well. So if we do get in at that area at 43.50, say, or 43.45, our stop is going to have to be 43.60. Same on SPY as well. We've got our defined stop loss and we've got our defined entry area as well, so that we can manage our risk pretty well. So going back into Qs again, 365.91 is a potential stop area, and we can be looking for between 365.35 to 365.70 for a potential rejection, and then our stop can be just above that area. And then bounce wise, it's got to be this demand, this area of demand So 360 for potential bounce, and look, we've got this rising 50 moving average and coming into that area as well. And we've got concentrated volume, and you can see this red line at 359 is a potential area of concentrated volumes, and this area could act as natural resistance as well. Nasdaq, as before, so we could be watching 15,100, 15,150 as a stop area, as a rejection down. Notice the bottom tails here, so potentially we could be looking for a bit of a buy setup. So keep an eye on that on the hourly, and that would be a retest of this area as well. Breakdown, retest, and back up. So watching 15,000 really and 50 for a potential higher risk buy. It's quite close to where we are, and it's hard to find. Unlike the ES and the SPY, this area provide an area of support, which is where we are right now. And if we get back down to 14,617 to 14,650, this is a potential bounce area as well. In this area of demand, we've seen a bottom, we've seen a double bottom, then a higher low as well. So we may not even make it back down. Let's put the fibs in and see where we could. So we're right on the 618 there. This is a 50% area, 14,900. Let's just flick this. And if we were to pull back, and if we were going to play with the algos, then 14,870 is a potential area, and there's something more interesting in a second. This is a potential bounce area as well for 14,851 or 14,850, nice round number. And if you look, higher concentrated volume, the red line is the fulcrum of the volume, or the point of control. And it's also the bottoms of candles, tops of candles, bottoms of candles, tops of candles. So this is a nice area to pull back into. So the 14,850 for a potential bounce on Nasdaq. And finally, oil. So while this has shown strength in the market, whilst MES and Qs, ES and Nasdaq is showing weakness at the moment because it's gapped down. This is gapped up, and you probably recall over the last few weeks I've been waiting for it to come back down to this area, and today was going to be my entry on the break of that area. And I do wish I got in on Friday now, but you know, it wasn't a confirmed trade. Friday would have been taking it as a well, it wasn't a trade on Friday. I had to wait for it to break above, and it has well and truly broken above. So the only thing I'm waiting for now is just putting in this hammer candle. Is what I really want to see, is come back down to this area and then hopefully see the run up. So I'm going to wait now for it to come back down to 84 or maybe 83. So the area I'm waiting for is really 83.50, and hopefully we can catch it that way. But like I said, the reason I like this trade so much is because it come into this area 82.34, which is a area of previous resistance. And if I zoom out a bit, you can see it's tried to break this area many a times since December last year. Almost a year it's been waiting to get out of this area, so we've been boxing it in a bit like a spring, and then finally it snapped and it broke out. I missed the bounce and retest, which I've gone through a few times, but it doesn't matter, you know. And looks like I may have missed the retest as well, which I've been waiting for, but it doesn't matter. Maybe on hindsight I should have been layering it in as it's coming down on the daily, you know, doing what the hedge funds and the smart money are doing. But it is what it is. If we can get this candle back down, I may be looking for a retest of that area again. I may be looking for a potential higher low or something. That's what I'll be looking for, and I think that's it really. There's no more levels to watch for. This is just the other 82.34, or maybe just slightly above that area, 83.50 I think we said. Okay, that's it really. Hopefully makes sense. Quick look at today's MES again to quickly go over the levels. Area I'm watching more for rejection is 43.40 through to 43.50 area. 43.45 is probably the area I really want to see it go. And then oh, 1 second. I'll be back in 1 second. So I'm back again. So the areas I'm watching for is a pullback down to 4300, 4301, and I'm looking for the rejection up here at 43.45. This is the area I'm watching for. If I've also got bookmap open, and if you can see on bookmap, we've got a lot of sellers sitting up in this area, 43.30 all the way down to 43.20, but then this is just pre-market and pre-market open volume as well, 43.10, 43.01. So how's that compared to what we're looking at on the chart? 43.30, so this is this area of supply. 43.30, we've got higher volume up here, so potentially see resistance up here. And then we've got 43.25, which is around that area. 43.20, around that area. This is areas where we've got sellers waiting. And 43.10, potential buyers sitting here as well. So that's why I want to sit out for the first quarter of an hour, just to see where the market's going, because as it is, there's no real direction. We don't know which way it's going. I can't tell you whether it's going up or down. So this is what I'm waiting for. So if we can eat our way through all these sellers and we get back up to 43.45, I'll be looking for a rejection around this area. There's not much here at the moment. And of course, if we can come back down to 43.01, potential bounce area from here. And there's not much down there, so we need to wait for the market to open to find out what the market's going to do. To work on a direction. At the moment it's an inside day, we're smack bang in the middle of Friday, and let's just get an idea before I go on the fibs for Friday. So today, by no coincidence, we came down and hit the 50% area on the post and pre-market. So if we can break through the 50, which means we'll break through this 50 moving average as well, then we can hopefully see some movement back down to this area. But there you go, 50% on the fibs, that's exactly where we are right now, where we have been a few hours ago. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave in the comments if there's any suggestions or any changes you want to make to these videos, or any other futures or tickers you want me to review. I'm currently watching NASDAQ, S&P, oil, and I do have an eye on some other futures as well, which I'm keeping an eye on, and I want to get more involved in the futures trading. So I'm looking at natural gas, corn, Bitcoin futures, gold futures, and the Dow Jones as well. They're the areas. These are the ones I'm keeping an eye on every single day. And if you look at natural gas, we'll go to a big double bottom, looking at the 5 minutes, going to the daily. So we've seen strength over the last few days on natural gas, and let's just put the volume in. Volume bars pro. This is an indicator I've written myself. Where is it? There we go. I like to look at volume, and it's applied to all. So we've got 10 minutes before the market opens. So if you look at natural gas, look at this increase in volume, and we potentially maybe topping out here, big bottom, big topping tail, and maybe we may have seen a top for now, but it is looking pretty strong, and the volume suggests it's looking like we're just about to get near, we could be potentially getting near to ending volume. So if we look at ultra high volume areas, last time we had volume this high, and I'll just make this bigger so you can see. Here you go, this is a nice pictures, a nice general picture of the last couple of years. So last time we had volume at these levels was here, and we saw this pullback. Back up here, we broke out, so that's breakout volume. We broke out over this pivot, which is shown by that volume. Volume down here was a big push up. Yeah, so potentially we could see what was the end of last year. So last year we sold off, but on average volume coming into December, and then we sold off again in January, December, January again, apart from that area there, which is this area we sold off on at below average volume. And look at the volume starting to increase. More volume this year on natural gas than last year, just naturally higher. So one to keep an eye on. If we were to keep pushing up on natural gas, look at the weekly, we could come into 3.363. That area is potential. That's a potential rejection area. And if that's the case, again, I won't want to chase the price, but what I really would like to do, if it comes back down into this area, maybe $3, that's a nice round number as well. $3, that's my, let's put an alert in. $3 and about there, $3.06, add an alert. So we come back down to $3, it might be worth looking for a long swing trade. So we want to see it pull back. And then we've got a lot of movement up. We can potentially get into $5 as well. So worth keeping an eye on oil, natural gas as well. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see some of you in the live trade room. And if not, I will see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I've just seen some comments that my screen's blank. How weird is that? Okay, I'll do the video again after the market opens. There's a good points I've brought up. I didn't realise my screen was blank. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Okay, well, thank you for listening and not watching. Have a good